The problems I see and it doesn't matter if they're local or regional or national or global, stem from how we think about things. They are, they're because we're not thinking systemically. And I mean that in a very specific way. My concept is that people orient themselves toward questions that they're asking themselves. If you asked a question about how could we have the best possible city, for instance, to bring it to a city level, and everyone cooperated in putting together their ideas, the possibilities that they have, that they're aware of, and if you collected all those and looked at them all and evaluated them, there would be clusters of ideas. People would find allies. You would find possibilities. You could move forward on those, and then you could keep improving them. And that would move the locus of change, of initiation, from the status quo, the people who are seen as having power or who do have power, perhaps through financial contributions or being part of established networks of communication. It would move it from those established ways which keep things going on as they are to a completely democratic, open way of doing it and thinking rationally about it, what would actually make things better, and then of course you have to decide what that means. So it makes an open, transparent, evolving process. My work directly affects or can be used in a lot of contexts. It could be used in a family, say. You could say, what would make our family happier? What's something that would make our family happier? And this is something that listeners could do. You just take turns. Each person asks the next person, sitting in a circle, what's something that would make our family better, or happier, or more satisfying, or more fun? You get to choose what you like. And then everybody can answer, even little kids. And you say, what would that do for you? And then you say, thank you. And then that person asks the next person. It's helpful sometimes to write these down on a piece of paper so the question doesn't drift. So you just ask the question, collect the answers, and after you've gone around 3 times with the same question, you have a lot of good ideas, and you see that there's a lot of similarity often, and you can move forward quite easily. So that's a way it could apply on a family level. It can apply in an organization. An organization can be operated on a core question. So, for instance, for a nonprofit, it could be, how could we eliminate homelessness in this city, our city? And then collect all the answers, and it could be not only from within their staff, but from everybody who's interested, and then have an ongoing process, a system of collective intelligence is what I call it, that would continually be identifying the best options for eliminating homelessness and putting them into action. And that creates a lot of engagement in the community because a lot of people care about that. And they can always stay current with the new possibilities and keep evolving and changing in response to circumstances. The basic thing needed to make this operational is an information infrastructure, is what I call it. Now, I didn't just make this up. I did make it up, and then I realized that this is the same process that science uses, for instance. The core question of science is, how does nature work? And over centuries, people have accumulated better and better answers, and so now we know quite a lot. The way those answers have evolved is that there's an information infrastructure. There's a way to collect possible answers, to test them, and then to communicate the results. And then from that, the best answers can be widely adopted, or questions can be raised. Other people can raise other possibilities and do experiments and so on. All that happens through this information infrastructure. You put them together, you let people find each other based on their common interests. You help them develop ideas and proposals, things that can be tested, and then you follow it through the testing, what works, what doesn't work, and have a way to spread the best working answers. And they're always working answers because they're always subject to being questioned again, so they can always improve. And they don't get stuck as a status quo, a traditional answer, this is how we do it, we've always done it this way, and if you have a different idea, we're not going to listen to you. That's the problem with how we do things now. I'm seeing that a software program, an open source program that allows any organization or group to create its question and put it out and then collect the answers, sort them out, process them, and share them as a sort of evolving manual, state-of-the-art, cutting-edge, always current manual of this is how we're doing things now, would be the essential piece. What would be needed to implement this whole process, say on a city level, which I think is an excellent level to start it on, collective intelligence for cities, what would make our city better would be the core question. That involves everyone who has an opinion about that, which is pretty much everyone. What would be needed is some funding to support staff to work on that full time because it has to be managed and created. A website and the software for it would have to be created that allows for full transparent processing of all the ideas as I've described. There would need to be facilitators because this can't happen just online. This is a face-to-face event as well. So there need to be spaces and there need to be facilitators who can help people have productive meetings. And then proposals would be the outcome of this process. So people need support in how to create good proposals. So there'd be a certain level of training involved in that. And then at some point, the ideas that require significant investment or government involvement or something like that need to be evaluated from an expert point of view. They need to have a cost-benefit analysis and really have projections about what would go in, what would be required to make them work and what the results would be and so on, and what their legal implications might be, what laws might need changing. One of the proposals might be to change the zoning laws to allow more efficient buildings, where at the moment there might be obstacles to doing that. So a level of expert development would be required for some of them, and then government involvement would also be fairly important. There's a lot of data that would be needed in answering that question, what would make our city better? For instance, how are we spending our money now? What options are being considered? Doing research, what are the other options out there? So it'd be good to have experts on tap who do know what else is being done in a certain field of technology, say sewage treatment. What is the state of the art in that? What are the options? And then implementation. This project sort of, in a way, ends at the point of making the best possible project proposals. And then it's up to whoever wants to do what. Now, some of them can just be groups of people who decide they want to do that, like forming work parties and going around helping people create gardens. You don't need any great organization or investment to do that. But if you're going to change something in the infrastructure, then or create a new project that involves organizations or institutions or the government, a new initiative of some sort, then that might need to be tracked. So you'd want to track the results, what's going on, keep it transparent so that everybody can see what's going on. So remove levels of doubt and suspicion and so on. So everything is totally transparent. And then evaluate these things as they go on, have checkpoints so you know that they're actually being productive or not. You just know what's going on. And then in 3 years, perhaps 2 to 3 years, you do the whole thing over again. So now you ask, now what would make our city better? And things have changed in the meantime. So you look at all these projects, you do an overall evaluation on each one, saying, okay, where are we now? What happened? Is this something that could go further? Is this accomplished? Do we have new ideas based on what we've learned doing this? And then you repeat it. So it becomes an ongoing process of evolution for the city. And the citizens get the idea that, yeah, we can move forward. All we have to do is decide we want to do this and find people and resources and put it together and do it. If other cities do this, they can share their ideas, their results, just like a scientist would. Say, this is what we tried, this is what worked, this is what didn't work. If we were going to do it again, this is how we would do it. And other cities who are engaging in the same process can learn from that. So the best ideas would accumulate, and cities all over the world could do this, because cities have similar functions everywhere, no matter where they are. So we could learn to be experts at running cities. And since more than half the world's population now lives in cities, and that's going to continue to grow, that's a pretty important thing to do. So that's on the city level. It also applies in other places. But you need that infrastructure for sharing the information infrastructure, and then the support needed to run that. That's the main thing.